My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kay Ross.
And you're listening to Best Quality Vacuum. It is the Duckfeed show about Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and El Camino.
And this week we are talking about To'Hajiilee. This is an episode that was written by George Mastras and directed by Michelle MacLaren to air originally on September the 8th of 2013.
My birthday.
Oh, yeah.
The day I turned 33. I was gifted with To'Hajiilee.
Yeah. Every time I put these notes together, I think I want to go back and look and see what WAF we were working on around the time.
Okay.
Around the time that these came out. And then I never do that because, I mean, for us, we were recording these podcasts and then talking about the show in between.
Yeah. I don't know what we were doing around then.
Yeah.
But yeah, WAF a couple years old. To'Hajiilee 0 years old.
At that time. Yeah.
Yeah. This episode is about Jesse's plan. Figuring out Walt's biggest weakness is money.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's all for nothing. Use it to tighten this noose around him and set up this kind of Rube Goldberg machine of tragedy for the next episode.
Yes. You know what there's a lot of in this episode, Gary? Chicanery.
Yeah, there's some chicanery in this episode. It's a kind of a good plan.
Yeah.
The bit with the picture with Huel, is genuinely real smart.
Oh, yeah.
I got a little bit of thrill from that I did when they figured out the pest control tent. It's like, oh, that's just a clever idea. If I were playing a tabletop game and my players came up with that, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Take a feat.
Yeah, inspiration points all around, yeah.
Inspiration points all around. That's good. Good job, Hank. Good job, Jesse.
Yeah. But yeah, no, just we're kind of seeing the machine, tick together. And I mean, we said it last episode, but Walt's luck is officially out, right? And
yes.
It is a combination of his own actions here, but also Jesse knows him, knows the real him better than Hank does, right?
He figured it out. It took him a long time to get there.
Yeah.
To actually land at this point and know him, completely. He's been scared of him, knowing him in a way and thinking he's unpredictable. And this is the way he's figured out he's predictable.
Right.
Concentrating on the things that he knows he will do, not the things that he might do. Yeah. There's a lot. This episode's huge.
Yes.
So we're going to get into it. Next episode, fucking mind blowing as well. We're not recording that yet. So that's going to be a wait for you and for us.
Yeah. Also, the episode is named after the reservation in the Sandias, the Navajo reservation, where they were, they buried the money. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, it was very good of these meth dealers to do a land acknowledgement. So we start off, Todd is finishing up a batch.
Yeah.
In the Nazi super lab that he has. And Lydia is there supervising, doing the purity testing. And we're at a pitiful 76%.
Yes, but it's still better. Lydia calls it better. Marginal, but it's better.
Yeah, it's better. She's stringing him along in a gross way.
Don't like it.
We're going to find out. He's gross to her. She's gross to him. And Lydia is upset that it's not blue. Where's the blue color?
Yeah, that's our brand. Yeah. And, Jack's like, hey, that dude I guess this is Kenny, that dude who looked like Wolverine, he couldn't crack 70. That's the headline here.
Yeah. The guy who is underground, Declan's little angel.
Yeah.
They ask what Todd thinks. He's like, hey, it looks kind of blue to me, kind of a blue-green. Can you see some blue? And then they're not taking this. The thing that they make poison for people who want to kill themselves. They suggest using food coloring. That's how they color farm-raised salmon. Yeah. This is a product. Yeah. Todd brings Lydia some tea. Calls her Miss Quail, and he's really upset. He's like, listen, I'm really sorry. I think I know what I did. I think I overcooked it a little bit, so it lost some of its color. I can do better.
You burnt it like a cake.
Yeah. It's very like it. And she's like, oh, I do appreciate your efforts. Puts her hand on his hand. She wants to, she knows that he has the hots for her, and he's using it.
Yes. She's using it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's using it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, just Todd's crush. It just the way that Todd expresses any human emotion or connection is so bizarre.
It's super psychopathy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times it is, we see a lot of it once he gets Jesse. It's the same way you treat an animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I really should have watched you more. I'm sorry, I'll do better about that. Like,
it's one of my favorite things about El Camino, right? Is seeing just the very off way that Todd relates to everything. You see it all over his house. But yeah, he's interacting with Lydia like he's got like hair dolls made of her or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Todd gets a little closer and saying, like, listen, I can have my Uncle Jack smooth things over with your buyer. You know, if you want, like, basically I can send Nazis to murder them and make them accept low meth.
It's his one move.
It's just like Uncle Jack solves all my problems.
There's a Steve Perry ballad playing in the background here.
Yeah. Love theme from Lydia. Yeah. And Lydia leaves, you know, gives Todd the mug and he admires it. There's a little bit of lipstick on it. This is as horny as he's ever been in his life.
Yeah.
This is when Walt calls.
Yes.
You know, and he's like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, just like, oh, you want to kill Jesse? Okay, yeah, you got it.
You got it. He drinks from the mug with the lipstick stain. You know, we cut over to Gomi meeting Hank under an overpass.
Yeah,
Jesse's in the car, and Hank wants Gomi to hear about the plan.
Yes,
Jesse's new plan. And Jesse says, listen, I know you need evidence, but Walt is too smart to leave any. But there's one bit of evidence he will never get rid of, and it's his money. I don't know where the money is, but I know somebody who might know where the money is.
Right. And this is where we run into something that I think the show does very well, demonstrating different kinds of criminals and how they interact.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like Huel is just a different kind of like a different kind of criminal, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, he's almost, I mean, he's always been from a different show or from a different movie. But that's very clear here. Yeah.
He's real Cheez-It the Bat.
Yeah.
You know, as a guy, and I like in Better Call Saul how we kind of see the Cheez-It the Bat origins.
Yes.
Of him. You know? He's that level thug though.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's giving lie to, we were talking about last episode, the illusion of Walt's kind of omnipotence. He's got these fucking clowns.
Yeah.
As his two best guys. His two best guys are Saul's best guys, and the reason they're his best guys is because he knows them.
Yeah.
Like, he's met them before. They're his only guys. And his other guys are Jack, and he thinks he has control of Jack, and he doesn't have any control.
No.
Like, the Welker gang is the rabid dog. You know, it's not Jesse.
No.
You know, it's an illusion. He's a paper tiger, full paper tiger at this point.
Yes. Yeah. But Gomez shows up, and he's got Huel's phone. You know, like, hey, we have him, you know, captive in a safe house. Shows up to the Schrader house, and Hank unpackages an animal brain that they got from a butcher and pours some blood around it, saying, "Hey, you're up. This is a good plan, but it is also firmly in chicanery territory."
It's super chicanery.
Yeah,
like it's very Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, George Mastras.
Yes,
he did some stuff on that as well. So Hank and Gomi show up at the safe house to talk to Huel. You know, and Huel at first is being good, you know, he's not going to say anything. I don't know anything. And he says, listen, you know, we're actually keeping you here for your own protection.
Yeah.
Walt is going to take care of Jesse. We can't find Saul. You're next. He's like, why would he take me out? And he eventually shows him the picture. Saul sold him out, showing him this picture of brains of Jesse on the floor.
Yeah. Lying there like, oh yeah, no, just we got this like super staged picture of Jesse's body after, you know, somebody shot him in the head. Right.
Yes.
And this breaks Huel. He's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, like, you know, he starts talking.
Yep. And it works. Like he's only loyal to a certain point. You know, he does want to survive though.
Yeah.
You know, he's not as cool as Mike.
No,
he can't figure this out. You've got to hear in the notes that we don't know if Huel leaves after this.
Yeah.
This is a meme in the community. There's a lot of jokes about Huel's rules, which would be a spinoff they would do about him living in the safe house. And some of the thumbnails made up for it are very funny.
I've not seen the thumbnails. I'm just aware of it. I'm just aware of the meme. Yeah, no.
I like Huel's rules.
just him being left here. No, it's on IMDb. So some IMDb said it worst. It's unclear when/if Huel left the room.
Yeah, that is some real. I know that sometimes I can want to see, you know, the steps and things being set up.
Yeah,
like you know, that is some real. TV tropes calls it "What Happened to the Mouse."
Yes,
you know. he says, listen, if you call Saul, Walt's going to trace your location here. We don't want you though. We just want the money.
Yeah.
And Huel, who is in full confession mode, like, I don't know anything. I don't know where the money is. I got the van. I loaded up 7 barrels worth of cash. How much cash? 7 barrels worth.
Yeah, barrels? Like at Home Depot.
Yeah.
50 gallon ones.
All I know is it came back really filthy. Walt came back. He had us wash the van. It was really filthy, and he had a shovel with him.
Yes.
Those are your clues. Very odd that Walt had them wash the van rather than going to the car wash he owns.
Maybe. Yeah.
He doesn't have evidence on him.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Yeah.
So they leave. They say, Huel, you have to sit tight. Leave your phone battery out. Don't put that in or you can get traced, and don't discuss the case with the officers guarding you.
Yeah.
The less you distract him, the better he can protect you.
Yeah. Because they're operating outside of the laws here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guard who's on duty here, doesn't know why Huel's being held.
No, ASAC just told him, hold this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how, like, in Better Call Saul, like later on, we do learn that Huel got off because of the poor police work done here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Go Huel. I love this next scene. We get Walt meeting with Jack, and something I've been talking about, handing it to the Nazis in this show, is that they are businessmen during this. Like, again, he doesn't control them, but I like this exchange he has with Jack.
Yes.
He's like, okay, you want us to kill your former partner. Okay. Is this Rat Patrol? And when, Walt goes, no, he's not a rat. He just won't listen to reason.
Yeah.
And Jack isn't going to argue with him. He's like, okay, not a rat. Won't listen to reason. He's really focused on the results. Like, he's very practical.
Yes.
About this. But he's also like smart. He's not an idiot.
No. He puts together what Walt isn't saying, okay, well, here's a killer. You don't need an army to do this. You don't need our connections. He's not in lockup. And it's like, oh, this is something you don't want to do yourself.
Yep. And Walt says, again, very similar to, Jesse might not understand the finer points of child poisoning. The absurdity. He's like family to me, to the hitman you're hiring to kill him. He's like, okay, quick, no pain, no fear, right in the back of the head. Gotcha. Jack's willing to do it.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit of an echo here because Saul had it right when he was talking about the old Yeller thing, right?
Yes.
like his little metaphor, as he's explaining, he, Timmy had to do it himself. Yes. Because it was what he owed him. And Walt is no Timmy.
Yes. And he's going to pay for it. Walt brings up payment and Jack says, oh, we don't want your money. We want you to cook for us. Just tutor my nephew here.
Yes.
Apparently, the one part of this I also really like that I forgot. Walt says, Jesse's angry, and Jack says, how angry? Like Hulk angry, Sylvester Stallone angry. And he looks up at Todd and goes, no. Just does a little not this guy.
Yeah, not this.
Todd's getting a weird, slow revenge for Jesse punching him.
Yes.
And shunning him is really great.
Yeah. I like this line. Apparently that blue touch you put on it, it's all the rage with them Slavic types.
Yeah, them Slavic types.
Just the subdividing of putting people outside of whiteness that Nazis do.
Yes.
It's a horrible thing to do, but just on display here. I don't know.
Well, and the hypocrisy too. They are trying to make a better product for these people.
Yes.
Walt's like, absolutely not. And then I love Jack, I'll bet I triple your money. And Jack goes, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what we can make with the blue stuff. Walt is hesitating, and Jack says, I said you shouldn't skimp on family. Fucking love that line. So he agrees to do one cook.
Yes.
And Jack holds out his hand. Another time he's shaking hands with his Nazi. He's like, well, we can do it tonight if you want. Do you know where he's at? He's like, I don't know where he's at, but I know how to flush him out.
Right. And he uses Brock again. Again. Okay. My best guys, Kubi and Huel. All right. Yeah.
My best guys are everyone I know.
Yeah.
So he stops by Andrea's place, to talk to Jesse, and he sees Brock and asks how he's doing. This is actually, people talk about the poison juice box shit in this. I love that we never actually see him poison him, but we just get to have Brock being a little bit weirded out. on some level, Brock probably associates this person with that trauma, but he's a kid and doesn't understand it.
Yeah, just unsure of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I also like, well, it's like little big gulps. All right. Then here, Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Fruit Loops, great stuff.
Yeah.
Jesse hasn't called since 2 weeks ago just to check in on Brock, and Walt makes up a story that has a lot of truth in it. Jesse is using again, and I'm really worried about him. I can't get in touch with him.
Yeah.
Jesse is worried, is using it, and he is worried about him.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, like, have you considered calling, talking to his lawyer? It's like, yeah, no, he doesn't. I talked to him. He checked. He's not in lockup or anything. Kind of seeing around this, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I can give him a call if he's mad at you. Maybe he'll respond to me, and he gives her his new cell phone number.
Yep, and just have him call, and he leaves. We see that Kenny and the Nazis are watching the house.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, he wants them to take the body away from the house so it's not in front of the boy.
Yeah.
Things like that. This being the trap, this is actually going to set up a huge tragedy for this family. Walt has just sealed the doom of Andrea, as well, because Jack's not an idiot.
Right.
He can put this shit together.
Yeah. So it has been demonstrated. This is how you get leverage over Pinkman.
Yeah. He files it away. Hank listens to the message from Andrea. And if Jesse had gotten that, maybe he'd do something, but Hank intercepted it.
Yes.
Nice try, asshole. He's not going to do it. Goes back into the house, telling Gomi and Jesse, like, listen, that van line doesn't use GPS anymore.
Yeah.
But he thinks, he came back covered in dust. He probably buried the money. He's like, yeah, but you said the van doesn't have GPS. He goes, yeah, but like Walt doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Again, chicanery, but smart. Everyone take an inspiration point.
Yes.
Smart.
And also we don't see it formulated. Like it is left to us to like realize with Walt what happened here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is good. So Skylar is trying to keep Junior out of the house. So she's training him on the cash register at the car wash, insisting that after every transaction, he tells the customer to have an A1 day to reinforce the brand.
The kind of thing that makes me want to kill myself when I worked at jobs like that.
Oh, terrible, terrible. I don't want to do anything for the brand.
No. The worst example of that is Cold Stone Creamery, where like you ring the bell and they have to sing a song. I don't think they have to do it anymore, but they did for a while.
I don't know that Cold Stone still exists.
Cold Stone still exists.
Okay. The one in our
It's
town.
not ascendant.
Yeah.
It's not like doing great, but it still exists.
Yeah. Man,
everything's that roll up ice cream now. Have you seen the
roll up ice cream? What?
Yeah, it's
keep saying to me?
It's a Korean ice cream or something like that. You make it on an anti-griddle. You basically take all of the ice cream ingredients, chop it up, and then it lays flat on the anti-griddle.
Okay.
And then you roll it with like a patching trowel into little rolls of not very good ice cream.
Huh.
It's like too cold. You don't get very much. It's a novel form factor.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I first saw it, but it's not better than ice cream.
It's still just ice cream with the ingredients in it. It looks nice. This seems like it is just for the gram, I think.
Yeah, it's another one of those. It's a food trend.
God, I would fuck up some ice cream so bad right now.
Ice cream's good. Yeah. I have downstairs in the fridge. I bought some ice cream the other day, and I got some Corn Pops ice cream because everything's fucking a mashup now.
Yeah,
2025, everything is just mashed into every fucking other thing. But I was like, cereal milk ice cream with Corn Pop chunks in it. That sounds fucking good, and it is.
Yeah. All I have in my freezer is some lemon blueberry sorbet, like a jackass.
Yeah, you should sprinkle some sugar over some frozen chili.
just chisel off a slice.
Yeah, chisel off a chunk. Give yourself an ice pop. Yeah. So Saul comes in. Skylar gives him a look like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Junior recognizes him.
Yeah,
I like that these two characters get to meet.
Yeah, local celebrity. Yeah.
Junior's face in the background of this, just his big smile is so good.
And Saul's just like, "Hey, don't drink and drive, but if you do, call me."
Yeah, can't turn it off.
Nope.
Speaking of keeping the brand on.
Yeah.
Walt follows him outside and says, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's like, "We're at DEFCON 1. Huel is gone. Jesse's figured out our plan. We're fucked."
Yeah.
And Walt notices he's even wearing a bulletproof vest. while he's out. This is the very tiny heads up he gets before Walt gets the text from Jesse.
Yes. The text from Jesse with a photo of a buried barrel full of money. And Jesse calls and asks, like, hey, you recognize that barrel, bitch? I've got 7 more just like it. Like, Huel gave them just enough information, including where to go get the barrel.
Yeah. It's perfect. This reminds me, a long time ago, me and my ex-wife did a scavenger hunt, photo scavenger hunt for a toy magazine, action figure magazine called Toy Fair that I liked. And one of them was get a picture of yourself in a ball pit. Okay. And there were no local ball pits. They're like almost none of them now, but they were on the way out even 15 years ago. So what we did was we bought a bunch of ball pit balls and then staged a photo like we were in the bathtub with the ball pits up to our neck, just on our chest. So it looked a little bit like we were in a ball pit because of the framing.
Huh.
That's kind of what Hank did here with just taking a layer of cash over this buried barrel.
Yeah, just with some fill inside of it. Yeah. What'd you do with those ball pit balls?
Can't remember. Huh. Yeah. I probably hucked them at passing cars.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing in 2007. I can't remember what I did with those. 2008.
Oh. But yeah, no, this is red alert, right? Like, okay, he's found it. It's just close enough to the truth to make him panic, right?
Yep. So he speeds away. Jesse's on the phone giving this ultimatum, I'm going to burn the money. I'm burning $10,000 per minute.
Yeah.
And if you don't show up to stop me, if we get disconnected, anything like that, it's all going.
Yeah.
You're going to die. All this money's going away.
Yeah. And Walt's screaming at him, don't you touch my money. And this is a whole bunch of character flaws of Walt's, like, all wrapped up into one.
It's a character, it's a fault, but it's also the defining thing of Walt.
Yes.
Like it's not a fault that if without the money, this is all for nothing. If you think of this as an equation, the only way he's going to be able to live with himself with a very short rest of his life before dying with cancer is if his family gets this stuff.
Yeah. He tries to say that too. All you're doing is hurting my family.
Yeah. And he says it, and I don't think that's a tactic.
No,
he knows he's going to die. Like that's genuine. The thing about Walt that is everyone gets sick of saying he did it for his family. And in the episode where he's like, no, I did it because I liked it. It's both. It's always been both. Like it was never just, the family was never just a fig leaf. For him. He's more complicated than that.
Yeah. The reason I call this out, is because, when they're talking about this as a plan, they say like, oh yeah, he's a greedy bastard. Right. And greed is only part of it. This money is a proxy for his masculinity. It's a proxy for his pride. Right.
It's a proxy for his pride, and it's the only thing that's going to let him sleep at night with what he's done. It's a proxy for pride, and it's a proxy for guilt. It's a proxy for everything. For him, everything that he's been through, and everything he's done, which are two sides of the equation, both of which are rough, right? Like you don't want to have sympathy for Walt. You don't have to hand it to Walt. No. Walt has been through a lot, though. This fucking sucks. This is a really sanity blasting couple of years for Walt. He had to do things and have horrible things done to him. And if not for this money, that was for nothing.
Yes.
On top of this money represents him being an earner, providing for his family. It represents a lot.
Yeah.
It's the reason why crawl space is so effective, right? Like when he gets to the bottom, the money is not there as the thing that was what he did all of this for, and it was given to Ted.
Yeah.
Like that's the metaphor working on many levels. It's not just like his masculinity was given to Ted.
No, it was
his entire purpose. Like all of his reasoning.
Yes.
Was done. He's more complicated than that. I think that gets, not saying you're doing this at all.
No.
It gets lost in the discussion around the show sometimes, though, I think in a race to condemn him because he's an asshole.
Yeah. So I wasn't bringing this up to like flatten that. I was just more to, just to kind of like call out the episode a little bit, although it's close enough, but like the fact that it is said like right before this, like, okay, this is the motivation. It is his greed. And like I think that it is important to underline, especially when the plan and works this well, that the money is a proxy for a bunch of other different stuff, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Jesse and Hank saying it's just greed, I think, is them not understanding Walt.
Yeah.
Jesse understands Walt enough to know that he will do anything to protect this money, but I don't think he quite understands why.
Yes.
Yeah. Or at least the full picture. Walt starts apologizing about Brock. And Jesse doesn't believe him. And he's like, no, he's fine. He's alive. That's just as I planned it. I gave him just enough poison.
Yeah. Who do you think I am? I measured it.
Yeah. He just, listen, I've killed people for you, Jesse. And Jesse goes silent as Walt pulls up to the reservation dig site.
Yeah.
He looks around. He doesn't find anybody. And I love Bryan Cranston's fucking facial acting.
Oh, it's so good.
During maybe the next 4 episodes, like this episode included. Him realizing what happened.
Yeah.
Is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Realizing he was had. Right. That okay, I thought that I had one major problem and I thought I was preparing myself for one kind of showdown, and to realize, realizing too late that his luck has run out. Right.
Yep. He pulls out his phone battery and he notices this plume of dust coming down the road. He goes to hide and he puts his phone back in. He thinks that Jesse has come with some shooters.
Yes.
Calls for Jack. We cut over to Jack. All the guys are suiting up.
Yeah.
Vest and guns. You had to get here as soon as possible if you want me to cook for you. Here are the coordinates.
Yeah.
And then he sees Hank get out. And again, just it's almost like in slow motion.
Oh, the way that he deflates. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jack's just like, Walt, talk to me here. What's going on? And he's just fucking dead inside.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Just absolutely destroyed, just like, forget it, don't come. And then just waits there while Hank is calling for Walt. He knows there's nowhere to go. And he just, the absolute slack in his face and the way that the tears just kind of just funnel back. And they're not even falling down his face, they're just welling up. Yeah.
Yeah. He thinks it's over.
Yeah.
But the definition of over is going to be way worse than he thought.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
He thought it was really bad, but again, Jack's not an idiot. And his flaw with dealing with the Nazis is thinking he controls them. And he doesn't.
No.
He eventually, Jesse realizes this is where they did their first cook. He's sentimental. And Walt walks out holding his gun. And basically follows Hank's instructions. Jesse looking at this, it's maybe over. This is great. Hank gets Walt in cuffs. Gloats about it. He's like, hey, what do you think of that barrel photo? That's really near the grill where we used to cook for your family. You piece of shit.
Yeah. Saying Gomi said, you would notice that the dirt didn't match, but we figured your greedy ass would jump anyway. Right.
Yeah. Hank says, show me where you buried your money. Walt won't do it. And he goes, oh, that's okay. We'll get a team out here. He starts doing his Miranda rights and he's relishing it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's feeling his oats here, right? This is Hank's moment of triumph.
The Walt isn't listening. He's just staring at Jesse.
Yeah.
He was a rat. This is the worst thing he could do. Looks at him and calls him a coward. Jesse spits in his face and they kind of wrestle a little bit.
Yeah. Walt charges him.
Him. Hank puts him in the truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this whole bit.
Ooh, Gomez congratulates him, and Hank's like, "Yeah, no, we'll call the reservation police, let them know we're here. But for got to make another call first." And he calls Marie.
Yeah.
Well, you want me to wave for him? Wave to him for you? Hey, we got him.
Yeah.
And just the relief on Marie's face. Oh my God, it's over.
The relief and kind of it makes it fucking knife twisty.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Walt sees in the distance, sees some dust, and it's Jack's crew.
Yeah.
Pulling up. Jack's not an idiot. He saw these were coordinates. Saw this is very specific. There might be something worth checking out. We're already vested up.
Yeah. Whatever. Even if he isn't there, we should see what's going on. Right.
Yeah. I don't think he came because he's like, I'm going to steal the money, but he's like, oh, this is suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to check this out. We get this, again, another meme. We get Walt screaming for Hank, but nobody can hear him.
Yeah.
And they're ignoring him, at this point. And he's yelling at Jack, no, it's off, Jack, go away. But the Nazis pull up.
Yeah. They surround him. They're all around. It is so bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Hank and Gomi are very outgunned. They pull guns on him. It's a standoff.
Yeah.
and the Nazis do a little tactic.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually cops, show us your badges. We'll give ourselves up if you show us some badges. Simple as that. How about that?
Yeah.
People online who are bad at media, they're every once in a while you'll run into people being like, why didn't they just show them their badges? Like
you idiot.
I've seen that take a couple times.
That is so dumb. Oh my God.
It's really, really dumb.
Yeah.
Media literacy.
Just in case people need us to underline it. No, they want them to if they, we don't want them shooting back at us. Like, how about this?
Yeah. Look at the drop on them.
Yeah.
They
want advantage.
Yeah. They want advantage. Hank does not do this. So Jack gives Kenny a look, and we see in slow motion, Kenny closes one of his eyes to start firing his assault rifle 15.
Yeah.
I love that. And again, this is a cliffhanger. This ends, they're shooting at each other. We don't see anyone get shot. Walt dives down in the car and kind of pushes his face down, trying to get into where your feet would go in the back seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then immediate cut to credits.
Yeah.
It's one of the most unresolved endings in TV history.
It is so I remember precisely how I felt.
Yes.
I don't know that I slept that night.
Yeah,
which is probably an exaggeration, but good Lord.
It's just oh my God. Yeah. Just super jazzed. Cannot believe that I have to wait a week.
Yeah.
For this shit. Just an incredible ending. And just all of last episode and a couple times we've talked some shit about some of the quinky dinks that have brought us here. It's worth it to get to this very profound tragedy.
Yeah.
They end up here. That is Walt getting punished. It would be enough for Walt to get punished getting arrested here. If the Nazis didn't show up, that's a punishment for Walt.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it. He's going to lose all his money. But it's way, way worse.
Oh yeah. And it's way worse than even I expected watching this, right?
Yes.
You think, okay, well, we have several episodes left. Is the rest of this going to be not escape attempt, because that's really dumb, but what could this be, right?
There's a little bit of how is old Walt going to weasel his way out of this one?
Yeah.
I remember thinking that because it is the Breaking Bad's trick that Walt is a piece of shit, but he's also the protagonist.
Yeah.
He moves the action forward. It won't be a story if he's just arrested here.
Right.
That's not a story.
I think that this qualifies as a twist, right? It's hard to look back on it and, say, knowing everything that happens and the direction that this goes. At the time, I probably noticed some death flags on everything Hank was doing there. But I don't know, you think it's going to go one way, and then because of Walt's actions, it goes another. Yeah,
in a way that largely makes sense.
Yeah,
and again is worse than I thought it was going to be. There wasn't when I was predicting bad things happening to the characters of this, because it's a show where bad things happen to characters you like. I was not expecting meth slave Jesse.
No.
That is so horrible. All of the stuff with that stuff is just so fucking rough.
Yeah.
So, great episode. Leading into a great episode, leading into something many people say is the best episode of TV of all time. I don't know if that's true, but it does show up on that list a lot. So one of the only perfect rated shows.
Looking forward to talking about it.
Me too. What can people do if they like the show?
If you like this show, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, and there you can kick us a few bucks a month to get a whole bunch of bonus content and support us.
We would appreciate that very much. You can also leave us ratings, reviews on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict. Tell your friends, post about us on websites. If you want to do a TikTok, you can.
Yeah.
And join us in thanking our producer, Gwen, who also composed the theme music.
Thank you, Gwen.
Yeah. And what else? Boy.
It's, I don't know. I mean, just look forward to
we're in this home stretch.
Yeah. The
it's
Better
all
Call
pretty
Saul
good
season.
shit.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I've only seen that show once. I'm really looking forward to revisiting it. This show, this is my third or fourth time watching it.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, I've only watched once. So really looking forward to that.
Same. I think that's about it. Bye.
That is about it. Take care, everybody.